Welcome back. As you know, I am Eli, the computer guy, here for the Daily Blob, where I shake my brain nipples every day to get some of that dirty YouTube money so I can afford to provide you folks hands-on, in-person technology education in Durham, North Carolina. Silicon Dojo, silicondojo.com. We do classes. I did a class on AI and SQL last night in Durham. And basically, you come, you learn, and then hopefully you are more empowered and you go the hell away. Anyways, do remember, free to the end user is not actually free. Toner costs a lot of damn money. Holy crap. So if you want to throw a couple of dollars into the donor box link down below, that would be ever so lovely. And so with that, yay. Oh, golly. You ever have one of those times where it just feels like a joke has gotten old? Or any of you folks kind of like old timers? And there's times when you act like that tough, hardened old guy, and it's kind of fun to do for a while, and then things keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's kind of no longer fun to have that act anymore. Yeah, I'm starting to feel that way about now. So under Trump's economy, we are in fact going back to the past. Apparently, we're not going back to the 1950s. We're going back to about 2003 with job cuts. Job cuts in October hit highest level for the month in 22 years. We have not had this many job cuts since 2003. This is Trump's economy. Now, some people, Eli, that's TDS. Yes. The question is not why I have Trump derangement syndrome. The question is why you don't. So yeah, Trump's economy is getting progressively worse. The business leader that led by going bankrupt for God knows how many companies is now leading our country into abject bankruptcy. And this is what you have to look at. This is what you have to look at as you're going out there and you're trying to find a job, right? You have to be realistic about the world that is out there. And the fact of the matter is, right now, take the job that you can get. Take the job that you can get. $9 an hour help desk job? Well, it is in fact a job. I do find that funny when I listen to the Gen Z people, and they're basically like, I'm not gonna take a job if X, Y, or Z, right? If I am not empowered, if I am not enlightened, if I am not supported. It's like, wow, these motherfuckers have never actually been poor. How can you tell a Gen Zer hasn't been dirt fucking poor when they start talking about all the things that are, well, I don't really know if I want to work right now. Yeah, that is not what you say when you are hungry. When you are hungry, you take the jobs that are offered. And so this is something to be considering right at this moment. So from CNBC, layoff announcements soared in October as companies recalibrated staffing levels during the artificial intelligence boom, a sign of potential trouble ahead for the labor market. Oh! A sign of potential trouble? I think we are far past a sign of potential trouble, according to outplacement firm Challenger Gray and Christmas. Job cuts for the month totaled out 153,000. 153,000 people have been chucked onto a stuck employment market. Right? Because that's the thing, right? You get fired, but you've got a normal employment cycle going on. Well, you got to go out there, you got to put your resume out, you got to schmooze, you got to do the whole 9 yards. You should be able to get a job again if you work hard. The problem is right now, the entire job market is just locked the fuck up, right? Employees are scared. Employers are scared. Everybody is shit fucking petrified of the god-awful economy that the psychotic mafioso in chief of the President of the United States has created that we're currently in. So you have 153,000 Americans being thrown out into the static job market. a 183% surge from September and 175% higher than the same month a year ago. Hey, remember when we had America's first dead president? Even a fucking dead president was better at getting American jobs than this jackass is. How bad do you have to be as a president to be worse than the first dead one? Inquiring minds would like to know. It was the highest level for any October since 2003. This has been the worst year for announced layoffs since 2009. Trump is a fucking failure, and we're seeing that throughout our entire economy. And the issue that you gotta be thinking about right now, right, with this psychotic mafioso in chief, right, the senile old loser, is we're a little bit over half a year into his disastrous presidency, right? We're half a year into the abject failure of the Trump administration. So it's only gonna get worse from here, which is gonna be a hell of a thing. Quote, like in 2003, a disruptive technology is changing the landscape. They keep bringing up this whole AI thing. You know, I think it might be the insane tariff policy. I think the insane tariff policy and interest rates going up and a lot of other basic business things going on might be a lot more of the issue than artificial intelligence, right? But anyways, like in 2003, a disruptive technology is changing the landscape, said Andy Challenger, workplace expert and chief revenue officer at the firm. Quote, at a time when job creation is at its lowest point in years, the optics of announcing layoffs in the fourth quarter are particularly unfavorable. The report comes at a time when the Federal Reserve officials have expressed concern about a softening labor market. The central bank has lowered its benchmark interest rates twice since September and is expected to approve another quarter percentage point reduction in December as policymakers look to get ahead of any more serious problems. Right? Your inability to pay the mortgage, I mean, that's not really that serious. It's when they can't pay the mortgage when it becomes a real issue. Challenger reports the highest level of layoffs coming from the technology sector amid a time of restructuring due to AI integrations. Companies in the sector announced 33,000 cuts, nearly 6 times the level in September. In total, companies have announced 1.1 million cuts this year, a 65% increase from a year ago, and the highest level since the COVID pandemic year 2020. October saw the highest total of any month in the fourth quarter since 2008. Quote, some industries are correcting after the hiring boom of the pandemic, but this comes as AI adoption, softening consumer and corporate spending, and rising costs drive belt tightening and hiring freezes. Those laid off now are finding it harder to quickly secure new roles, which could further loosen the labor market, Challenger said. So there you go. There you go. Job cuts. You know, it's the highest in October since 2003. 2003. So, you know, since George Bush, and since Biden, and since Trump, and since Obama, and then Trump, and then Biden, and now Trump. So yeah, Trump is outdoing himself. We're winning. We are winning. We have not failed this fucking hard in over 2 decades. And just imagine Trump wants to continue this horse crap. And so that's the thing you gotta be thinking about. Again, in the real world, you gotta understand you can't really fight macro forces. Macro forces will win at the end of the day, right? I was a 24-year-old flying around the country with a direct line to the travel department because macro forces. I was the person to show up and was willing to do that job, right? A couple of years later, I was buying gallon bottles of vodka and working at Mercy Hospital as a $10 an hour temp. Why? Macro forces. We had a .com bust and nobody was hiring, right? That's basically how the world works in a lot of ways. And you've got to understand where you are in this whole macro event cycle. And basically, we are 6 months into the tsunami of Trump's abject fucking insanity. And so you've really got to be thinking about where you're going to be positioning yourself, you know, over the next 3.5 years, because there is a good chance it is only going to get worse. It is only going to get more insane from here. And so that's where you gotta make sure, you know, you are living at 50% of your means. And you're going out there and you're busting ass. You're learning to be a good employee. What do employers actually need now? Going and talking with people, understanding where your value proposition is in the company organization, going out there and networking, right? The best time to network is when you don't need a job, right? When you can go out and you can network twice a month and you can be really nice and relaxed about it because you've got a good job. That's a good time to go out there and network. Go out, network, schmooze when it doesn't even matter. And then when it does matter, then you've got a nice little Rolodex of people that you can call and just say, hey, got anything on the help desk? Yeah, I got like 30 years experience. I got my CCIE. I got a degree. Yeah, I'll take a $9 an hour help desk job. Sure. All right. So anyways, this is the kind of stuff to talk about. As I've said, you know, when Bear Stearns fell back in 2008, I did not give two shits. I still remember sipping my cup of coffee. I lived down in Baltimore City. I had a nice little row house in Baltimore City. I used to sit out on my back porch. Basically, I had this nice fold-out chair. I'd sit there with my fold-out chair. I'd have a cup of coffee. I'd have my Wall Street Journal on like the first generation of Kindle back in the day. And I would sit there and I would read. And I remember sitting there and sipping my coffee and reading that Bear Stearns fell. And I remember not giving two shits. It was, that's interesting. Poor fuckers that work at Bear Stearns. Thankfully, I don't work at Bear Stearns. Thankfully, I don't have any vulnerability to Bear Stearns. Exposure to Bear Stearns. I'm in Baltimore. What does it matter to me? Let me tell you, April of next year, I found out what the fuck it mattered to me, right? The dominoes fall. So anyways, this is the latest thing. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? The most job cuts in 22 years. How do you think the Trump administration is doing? Do you have TDS yet? Do you have TDS? Have you figured out the shot? What shot gets rid of the TDS? Heroin? Yeah, you just shoot up with about a liter of heroin. You completely forget about Trump. Anyways, put your thoughts down below. If you like these videos, give us a thumbs up. If you hate these videos, give us a thumbs down. Call me amazing, call me a dumbass. Just be a real Lutnick. And make sure you put a strong American comment down there. Do remember my pride and joy is Silicon Dojo, silicondojo.com. Free to end user education. You just come and learn. We have more classes going on the schedule all the time. Just go take a look at the website if you're interested. Do remember, free to end user is not free. Toner. Holy crap, Toner costs a lot of money. If you'd like to throw some money into the donor box link down below, that would be ever so lovely. And with that, see y'all later.